Type your own name into one of those people search websites tonight and brace yourself. Your home address is sitting right there. Your age, the names of your relatives, streets you used to live on, a phone number, all of it assembled and sold for a few dollars by companies you've never heard of, entirely legally, from records you handed over without ever thinking about it. That's not a spy move. That's a Tuesday. And it's happening to almost everyone watching this. Here's the honest truth I want to lead with though, because it matters. You cannot truly vanish in the modern world, and anybody who promises to make you disappear completely is selling you a fantasy. But you can get yourself off the easy lists, quiet down the trail you leave, and stop being the low-hanging fruit. And most of that you can do this week for free. Quick note before we go on. I'm Merritt, and this is general preparedness education, not professional, legal, or financial advice, and not a prediction about any event. Nothing here is about hiding from anything lawful. It's about ordinary privacy, the kind our parents had by default, and we have to work a little to keep. All right, let me show you how ordinary people actually get tracked and the calm, legal way to shrink your footprint. Let me set the honest frame first, because the internet turns this into paranoia, and I won't. The tracking that touches regular folks like you and me is not, for the most part, some shadowy government operation staring at your kitchen. It's commercial. It's businesses buying and selling data to sell you things. And it's careless habits that leave your information lying around for anyone to pick up: a scammer, a thief, casing houses, a stranger with a grudge. That's the real threat model for a normal person. And the good news is that commercial tracking and careless habits are exactly the kind of thing you can push back on without moving to a cabin. So think of your data trail like footprints in fresh snow. You can't stop leaving them entirely. You're a person living in the world. But right now, most people are stamping their prints into every drift they pass, and you're about to learn to walk lighter. Let me start with how they find you, because you can't fix what you don't understand. The first and biggest one is the phone in your pocket. That phone knows where you are every minute, and depending on your settings, it keeps a location, history, a map of everywhere you've been. More to the point, the apps on it ask for your location, and most people tap allow without reading. So a flashlight app or a game or a coupon app is quietly logging your movements and, in a lot of cases, selling that data on. The Federal Trade Commission has taken action against data brokers for exactly this, selling people's precise location trails. So the phone is trail number one, and it's the deepest set of footprints you leave. Number two is the data brokers and people search sites we started with. These companies scrape public records, property records, voter rolls, court filings, marriage and business records, and they buy data from stores and apps, and they bundle it all into a profile of you that anyone can pull up. Your address, your age, your relatives, your rough income. It's legal, and it's a genuine safety problem because it's the first place a scammer or a stalker looks. Number three is quieter and physical. The license plate readers and toll transponders. Cameras that photograph plates are all over now, on police cars, on toll roads, in parking garages, even sold to neighborhoods logging where cars go and when. Your toll transponder does the same by design. For an ordinary person, this is mostly background noise, but it's part of the picture, and it's why cash still has a place. Number four is the one people volunteer without realizing: store loyalty cards and shopping apps. That discount card ties your name to a detailed record of everything you buy, and a lot of that data gets sold onward. It's not free, you're paying with your shopping history. Number five is social media, and this is the biggest one you actually control. Every photo you post with the location tagged, every check-in, every look at us on vacation, every picture of the new thing you bought, you are hand-delivering your whereabouts, your schedule, and your possessions to anyone watching. The folks who study home burglary will tell you plainly: announcing an empty house is how empty houses get found. And number six, the newest set of prints, is the smart home. The doorbell camera, the smart speaker, the thermostat, the home, Wi-Fi, all of it collects, and much of it can be requested or breached. I'm not telling you to rip it out, I'm telling you to know it's there and set it up with your eyes open. Now let me stop here, because this next part is where I have to be very clear about the line. And it's the honest heart of this whole video. When I say disappear, I mean shrink your data footprint and stop being an easy target. I do not mean, and I will never mean, hiding from the law, dodging a court, ducking your debts, or getting a fake identity. That's crime. It's a different channel, and it's not what preparedness is about. Everything I'm about to give you is legal. It's the kind of privacy hygiene a security-minded person just does. And it protects you from the threats that actually come for regular people, scams, theft, and strangers who shouldn't have your address. Keep that line firm and you'll never wander into trouble. So here's how you walk lighter, cheapest, and easiest first. Because most of this costs nothing but an afternoon. Start with the phone, because it's the deepest footprint and it's free to fix. Go into your settings and turn off location history, the running map of where you've been. Then go through your apps one by one and change location permission to while using the app, or to never for anything that has no earthly reason to know where you are. Your weather app needs a rough location. Your flashlight does not. This one change, done in 20 minutes tonight, cuts your biggest data trail down dramatically. Do it for everyone in the house. Next, get yourself off the data broker and people search sites. This is the highest value hour you'll spend. Nearly every one of those sites has an opt-out or removal page, usually buried in the footer, but it's there because they're required to offer it. You go to the site, find your listing, and follow their opt-out process to have it taken down. It's free. The catch, and I'll be honest, is that there are dozens of these companies, so it's tedious, and your info can creep back over time as they re-scrape, so it's a thing you redo maybe once a year. There are paid services that'll do the rounds for you if your time is worth more than the fee, but you do not need to pay the free. Opt-out is right there on each site. Start with the biggest few. Every listing you kill is a door you close on a scammer. Third, and this one's important enough that I'll plant my flag on it, freeze your credit. This is free, it's your legal right, and it is the single best protection against someone opening accounts in your name. You contact the 3 big credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and you place a security freeze with each. The Federal Trade Commission spells out exactly how on their consumer site, and it costs nothing to freeze or to lift it when you need to. A frozen credit file is a locked door on the most damaging kind of identity theft there is. If you do one thing from this whole video, do this one. Fourth, put a little distance between your name and your home address. A post office box or a private mailbox service, somewhere around $100 to $200 a year depending on where you live, gives you an address to use for deliveries, subscriptions, and forms, so your actual front door isn't printed on everything. It's not for everyone's budget, and it's not strictly necessary, but for anyone who's had a stalker, an ugly divorce, or a real safety worry, it's money well spent. The free version of this idea costs nothing. Simply stop giving your real address where it isn't truly required. The dry cleaner does not need it. The store loyalty program does not need it. Give less. Fifth, and free, is the shopping trail. Use cash for the sensitive purchases, the ones you'd rather not have logged and sold. And that loyalty card that's selling your grocery list, you can use the store's phone number at checkout option with a number that isn't your main one, or simply decide the discount isn't worth the surveillance. Small thing, fewer footprints. Sixth is the one that costs nothing and undoes more damage than any gadget. Stop announcing yourself online. Do not post that you're on vacation until you're home. Do not tag your house. Do not photograph the new television in its box on the curb, or your gun safe, or your pallet of supplies, and put it on the internet with your town in your profile. I hear from folks who proudly post their whole prep and then wonder why they feel exposed. You've told the world you're worth robbing and where to find you. The fix is free. Share less, brag never, and set your accounts private. Let me stop here for the seventh one, because it ties everything together and it's the one honest idea worth taking from the world of the professional tracker. The people who track for a living will tell you that the human eye is drawn to 2 things above all else: movement and whatever stands out from its surroundings. The eye slides right past the ordinary. It locks onto the thing that's different. Now take that and bring it home, because it's the whole philosophy of the gray man, and it's free. In a crisis, and honestly in normal life too, you do not want to be the house with the roaring generator when every other window on the street is dark. You do not want to be the one person in line arguing loudly about the supplies you've got stacked at home. You do not want the bumper stickers and the yard signs announcing exactly what's inside and what you believe and what you own. Being hard to track at the everyday level mostly means being unremarkable. Blend into the baseline. Let the eye slide past you. The person nobody notices is the person nobody targets. Now let me give you the second big honesty beat. because I promised you straight talk, and this is where a lot of privacy content lies to you. You will not achieve total disappearance, and you shouldn't try, because chasing it will drive you a little crazy and cost you a lot of money for diminishing returns. Some of your information is in public records that legally have to exist. You own property, it's recorded, you registered to vote, it's on a roll. You cannot delete those. And the services that promise they'll erase you completely are overselling. What you're actually doing is raising the effort it takes to find and exploit you from trivial to genuinely annoying. That's the honest goal. You're not becoming invisible. You're becoming not worth the trouble, which for a scammer or an opportunist scanning for easy marks is exactly enough. The lock on your front door doesn't make your house impregnable either. It makes the thief move on to the easier one next door. Privacy works the same way. One more honest caution, so you don't overcorrect. Do not, in the name of privacy, cut yourself off from the people who'd help you in an emergency. I've watched folks get so wrapped up in going gray that they became genuinely isolated. And isolation is its own danger. The lonely, disconnected person is more vulnerable in a real crisis, not less. The neighbor who knows your name and would check on you is an asset, not a threat. You can be private with the data brokers and still be known and trusted on your own street. Guard your information from the machine, keep your community close. Those aren't in conflict, and getting that balance right is the whole art of it. Let me give you a few more fixes, because there are some easy wins I don't want you to miss. And most of them are free. Start with your email, because it's the skeleton key to your whole online life. If someone gets into your email, they can reset the passwords to everything else. So the basics: a long, unique password on your email that you use nowhere else, and turn on two-factor authentication, that second code sent to your phone, which is the single biggest thing you can do to keep an account from being broken into. And keep a separate junk email address for store signups, coupons, and anything that's going to sell your address on. Let the junk pile up in the junk account, and keep your real email for the people and business that matter. Here's a free one almost nobody knows about. You can opt out of pre-screened credit and insurance offers, the ones that flood your mailbox. Through the official opt-out the credit bureaus are required to run. It cuts the junk mail, and more importantly, it closes a real avenue for identity theft, because those pre-approved offers can be stolen from your mail and used. And speaking of the mailbox, your physical mail is a data leak most people never think about. Anything with your name, account numbers, or details gets shredded, not tossed whole in the trash, because a thief going through your garbage is old-fashioned, but it still happened. Think about your phone number the way you think about your address, because it's become a master key that links your accounts together and follows you across databases. Consider a second number. A free internet-based number works fine for store signups, online forums, and anything you don't fully trust. And keep your real number for your actual circle. Same principle as the junk email. Give the machine the throwaway, keep the real one for the people who matter. Two more quick ones. Your home Wi-Fi router came with a default password that's often printed right on it, or easily guessed to change it. And set up a separate guest network for visitors and for your smart devices, so they're walled off from your main computers. And you'll hear a lot about VPNs. So let me be honest about what they do and don't do. A VPN hides your browsing from your internet provider and the network you're on, which is genuinely useful on public Wi-Fi at a coffee shop or a hotel. But it does not make you anonymous. It doesn't stop the data brokers who already have your records, and a free VPN often makes its money by selling the very data it claims to protect. So if you use one, pay for a reputable one, and understand it's one tool, not a magic cloak. And know that your car may be watching too. If it's a newer connected model, many of them collect location and driving data and send it back to the manufacturer, and some has been sold onward. There's not always a clean way to shut that off, and I won't pretend there is. But you can check your car's privacy settings and its app permissions, and at minimum, you should know the modern car is another set of footprints, same as the phone. One more practical note on the data brokers, since it's the highest value chore. When you do the opt-outs, keep a simple list of which sites you've done and the date, because they number in the dozens and it's easy to lose track, and you'll want to circle back in a year to catch the ones that relisted you. Start with the biggest, most used people search sites, because those are the ones a scammer or a stranger is most likely to pull up first and work down from there. It's tedious, I won't pretend otherwise, But every listing you kill is one less easy door into your life. Let me bring it back to the everyday behavior, because the gadgets and settings are only half of it, and the free half is how you carry yourself. The person who's hard to target is the one who doesn't advertise. Don't wear the clothing and stickers that announce exactly what you own, believe, or stockpile. Don't flash cash or valuables in a checkout line. Don't tell the stranger at the gas station about the generator and the food you've got at home, however friendly the conversation. When there's trouble in public, the instinct that keeps you safe is the boring one. Notice it early and quietly move away from it, not toward it to watch. None of that costs a dime, and all of it comes down to the same idea the trackers taught us. The eye slides past the ordinary and locks onto what stands out. Be ordinary on purpose, and one honest caution so you keep perspective. Don't let any of this tip you into fear or suspicion of everyone around you. The goal is sensible privacy, not a bunker mentality, and a life spent believing everyone's watching you is no life at all. Lock your doors, guard your data, carry yourself smart, and then go live, trusting your neighbors and enjoying your days. Preparedness that steals your peace isn't preparedness. It's just a different kind of prison. Let me total up the plan, cheapest first, because that's how you should tackle it. Tonight, free. Turn off your phone's location history and lock down your app permission. This week, free. Freeze your credit at all 3 bureaus and start opting out of the biggest people search sites. Ongoing, free. Stop announcing your location and your possessions online. Pay cash for the sensitive things and practice being unremarkable. And if your budget and your situation call for it, the paid layer, a mailbox service for $100 or $200 a year, and a data broker removal service if your time's worth more than the tedium. That's it. That's a serious privacy upgrade. And the whole free version costs you nothing but a couple of even. If you're the one in your family who thinks about this, who feels a little exposed in a world that seems to know everything about everybody, you're not paranoid. The Federal Trade Commission wouldn't be suing data brokers if there were nothing to it. You're just early to something everyone's slowly waking up to. And you don't need to move to the woods or throw your phone in a lake. You need a couple of quiet evenings and the willingness to give a little less of yourself to the machine. If this helped, the next video builds right on it. Until then, stay ready, stay calm, and don't let anybody make you feel foolish for being prepared.